Minecraft turned 15 years old this year and recently released the Tricky Trials update. And to add to the festivities, as a part of a summer series of challenges, Mojang has connected with Minecraft creators, including myself, to teach you some unique ways to play this incredible 15-year-old game. So before we dive in, allow me to say thank you to Mojang for sponsoring this special edition of the Bedrock Guide, where I will complete the challenge that they have given to me. Building massive projects can be impressive, but they require a ton of resources, and as you progress through the game, you can start to stockpile and have pretty much everything possible on hand. What if there was a limit to the amount of resources that you could collect? Could you still build something creative and functional? Well, in short, yes. This challenge is called the Resource Ration, and I think it's gonna be a breeze. On any given project, I may use multiple shulker boxes or even multiple double chests for materials, but I'm gonna grab one shulker box, and this is going to be my limitation for this challenge. And of course, the shulker box has to be blue. That's a no-brainer. And from now on, this shulker box is going to be known as the Resource Ration Repository. The reason that I've chosen a shulker box for this challenge is because there are 27 inventory slots inside of a shulker box, which matches the 27 inventory slots in the player inventory. So basically, my limitation is I can't build with anything beyond what would fit in my inventory. Mojang has given me some pretty great flexibility and freedom with this challenge, but I still wanted to give myself some limitations. And so while I'm going over here to mine the first resource, which is here in quite abundance, let me explain some of the limitations we're setting on this challenge to make it a little bit more interesting. Oh, armadillos! Hi! I've not seen very many of them. Hey, don't be scared. It's okay, buddy. I'm a friend. There you go. Anyway, enough distractions for now. Let's talk about the rules. We've already talked about the one shulker box limitation, but let's expand on that just a little bit more. I can use any of the resources within the shulker box to generate additional resources as long as it does not require mining blocks or chopping trees, anything that would be considered traditional resource gathering. So for example, if I fill up the shulker box and there are no inventory slots left, and I find myself needing another stack of logs or something, too bad, that's it. And there's no cheating around that either. I cannot take a stack of saplings and call that a resource and then grow them and chop the trees down. I feel like that would be bending the rules just a little bit too much. There are some examples that we'll get into a little bit later of how to stretch these resources into additional resources, but for the most part, we're gonna be stuck to what's inside that shulker box. Tools are not included in this limitation because they're gonna rest in the hotbar. So things like pickaxes, water buckets, all of these things are going to aid in getting the first round of resources, so I'm going to use those freely. The last limitation that I have personally put on this challenge goes just a little bit beyond what Mojang has required. The goal of this project was to build something creative, and I'm going to add the additional parameter onto this that it must have some sort of a function. And I've got just the perfect thing in mind. More on that later. Okay, that should be all of the terracotta that I need. Let's go get the next resource. And now I've got everything that I need except for one inventory slot. And I wanted to do this one together because it's a resource that I've never gotten before in Minecraft. And in order to get it, we need to go to a swamp. In the swamp, you can find frogs, and frogs love slime. I've got some slime balls right here, and I'm gonna try to lure this other frog over here, and I'm gonna breed two frogs together because I need a very specific type of frog. If you breed two frogs with slime, they will lay frog spawn in the nearest water source, which I've created here. Now, I have to wait for this frog spawn to hatch into a tadpole. get back in the water. Did he survive? That one didn't. There were 3 of them, and I think this is the only one that made it. We're gonna keep you safely in the bucket here, buddy. Okay, little tadpole, I've got the perfect place for you. Now, we wait some more. The type of frog that you get depends on the type of biome that you're in when the tadpole fully matures. In the jungle biome, we should get a warm frog, so hopefully that's what we get. Tadpole. Oh, there you are. Don't scare me like that. I thought you ran away. Whew. You know what, now I'm a little concerned. Don't grow up just yet. You still in here? Okay, good. Come here. Look, I made you a pond. Now you'll be safe. Well, hello there, frog. That's absolutely perfect. Look at this beautiful tan frog that we got. Now, we're going for a ride. Is he still with me? Oh no, he's not still with me. Are you ready? Let's go. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? I thought this was supposed to work. Okay, let's try this one more time, but this time, I'm gonna go higher. Here we go. Are you ready? And, uh-oh. Oh no! Back to the swamp. Let's try this again. Hi. Look at this beautiful tan frog. Frogs love to eat slime. They also love to eat magma cubes, and so I'm taking my new pal into the nether so that we can get our last resource for this project and finally start building. All right, we're gonna take this slow and hope for the best. Come here, bud. Oh, look, never mind. We don't even need to leave. Come here. Enjoy some lunch. Spicy food, your favorite. You gonna eat it? No? Come on, little froggy. I thought you were hungry. Have I got this completely wrong? Oh, there we go. Yes. Okay, we're good. There we go. Purple frog lights, or pearlescent frog lights as they're known in the game. That's what I need, but I've only got 4. So can I get some more magma cubes to spawn in here, please? Okay. Eat up. Lunch is served. Thank you. Great job there, pal. Excellent work. I got 19. That's 3 more than I actually wanted. Let's go home. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about how I accidentally just offed another frog. We'll get another one someday, I promise. Oops. Ever since I moved on to the new location from the starter village here, I've been kind of thinking about this spot right behind me and what could potentially go there, and today I'm gonna build a hot air balloon. And I'm gonna do it out of all of the resources that are inside of this box and nothing more. You can see there's nothing else in my inventory except for tools and food. And so if I misuse any of these resources, then I'm gonna run out, and unfortunately we won't complete the build. But I think we should be okay. I'm gonna start with some wood, and the first thing I need to do is get a crafting table. From here, I'm going to very sparingly craft these into planks and do a little bit at a time until I have a completed build. And I think maybe right here would be a good place to start. Everybody knows that every good hot air balloon needs a basket. I chose to build a hot air balloon for this project for a few different reasons. The first of which is that hot air balloons remind me of summer, and with it being the summer of Minecraft's 15th anniversary, this seemed like something cool we could do to celebrate that. And also, this hot air balloon is not just going to be your everyday hot air balloon. It is going to be in the shape and likeness of the new breeze mob added with the Tricky Trials update. So far, so good. I managed to get away with building the basket with just 10 logs. And I just want to note as well, there's no floor. For good reason. Next, I'm going to convert some more logs into some planks and some sticks in order to build some dark oak fences. I'm going to take the same approach here. I'm going to use these very sparingly and make sure not to overcraft and not waste resources. These are going to represent the ropes that are holding the basket to the balloon. So far, so good. Before I do anything else as far as detailing though, I'm going to start building the canvas of the balloon, because I now have the exact height where it's gonna go, and that's the most tedious part of this process and the most resource intensive because it's all going to be made out of terracotta and a little bit of concrete. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was going to use some resources to generate other resources, and I need some flowers. However, I'm not just going to mine these flowers because that would be breaking the limitation of using nothing outside of that box. These already exist in the world, so they are not fair game, but I am going to take some bone meal and bone meal the land at random and hope for some flowers. That's absolutely nothing. This is where things get a little bit risky because if I run through all of my bone meal and don't get the flowers, then I don't get to complete the build because I need the bone meal for some dyes. So hopefully we'll get something that we need. I don't need either of those. Third time is the charm. Go. Okay, the yellow one I can use. Can I get a blue flower? I said a blue flower. Okay, good. Yes, we got a cornflower. And I didn't waste too much bone meal in that process. And again, I just want to make sure that I'm doing this the right way. I'm going to get rid of any extra resources that came from that grass. We don't need them. I'm tossing them out. Now that I've got one of each flower, let me find a flat piece of land here. I think this'll do okay. I'm going to dig one hole in the ground, and I'm gonna place the flower directly in that hole. This is a trick that I've talked about many times before, and it's one I'm gonna show you today. This will stretch your resources so much farther, because if you bone meal a flower while it's in a 1x1 hole in the ground, you will get so many more flowers out of that single flower than if you were just to bone meal it on the surface. I feel confident we've got enough bone meal, so I'm gonna sacrifice one just to show you. If I bone meal this flower right here, look at that, we got 4 flowers in addition to the one that we planted, versus a whole bunch, plus a red one that we don't need. And now that I'm doing this, I don't actually need more than a couple dandelions. I actually need more blue dye than I need yellow. So allow me not to waste any more resources. Oh boy, BluJay, what are you doing? Okay, not bad. I've used 5 bones and I have over a stack of blue flowers that I can now convert into dye. I'm gonna take a couple stacks of this terracotta and I'm gonna create some blue terracotta, which looks much more purple, and that's okay for me because the breeze mob has kind of a purple tint to it toward the bottom of his face. And again, I'm not going to overcraft this. I'm gonna be very, very careful. Starting right here, I'm gonna connect up a piece of blue terracotta right here, and then extend it out by 1, and then I'll build out to meet it on the other side to the fence, and extend it by 1 here as well, and this should be an 11 block wide strip of terracotta. I'm also gonna go 11 blocks this way. This is 1, and then I'll count 10 more. And then from here, all I gotta do is meet it up at the corners, and we have a perfectly square frame. And so I'm going to do 2 layers of the blue terracotta before I start fading it into a lighter color. And with that, I've run out before completing the second layer, so I feel pretty confident about crafting some more. Maybe I'll start with a half stack. Doesn't quite look like a balloon yet, but it'll get there. Now I'm gonna take some of this sand and gravel, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to waste some of it because I'm gonna craft some yellow dye, place 4 pieces of sand and 4 pieces of gravel with 1 dye in the center to get 8 yellow concrete powder, and I actually don't need 8, but I have no choice. I'm gonna take a bucket of water and harden the concrete, and then I'm gonna do the exact same thing again, but this time with an ink sac to craft some black concrete powder. And then I'm gonna go up to the corners of the balloon just on one side, and it's gonna be facing this direction so I can see it from my house or from anywhere else in the village. And I'll pop this one out and that one out, and place a black concrete here and a yellow concrete there, and the same thing on the opposite side. And now the breeze has eyes. Let's work on the rest of his face. Next, I'm going to convert some bones into bone meal and then bone meal into white dye. And with that white dye, I'm going to combine it with the blue dye to get light blue dye. I'm going to get some light blue terracotta, which again, this doesn't really look like light blue. It looks more like light purple. But this is the best shade in the game that I have found to match the overall feel of the breeze mob. And so I'm gonna place some of it here, but I'm also going to blend in some of this darker blue so that there's a little bit of a transition between the 2 colors. Fantastic. Yes, that's starting to look like something. It doesn't quite look like a breeze yet, but it looks like a face for sure. I've got 6 rows of terracotta, and I'm gonna start blending in the next closest block that matches this. And unfortunately, we didn't have another lighter shade of blue purple to complete this that I think would look good. So we're going with white concrete powder, along with a few of these pearlescent frog lights. Okay, I can get on board with that. It's a little bit different than what I had planned and thought of, but those purple frog lights really help sell some of that transition. Honestly, I wish I would have got more than 19. I should have kept that frog alive. That's okay. We've got what we've got, and we'll make it work. It's also nice, too, that the frog lights actually light up the build at night. There's a couple more details missing from the face that I want to go ahead and fill in, and for that, I'm going to grab some wool and some more wood in order to make some banners. Banners are ridiculously expensive, and so the fact that I had 3 inventory slots full of wool just for banners means that I sacrificed some potential other resources we could have used just because this stuff is so expensive. We'll start with 11 banners and see where we get as well, but I'm just gonna go ahead and hang some of these at random. It's a very subtle detail, and banners do blow a little bit in the wind, and so there's a slight movement to it as well that gives off that fabric feel that a balloon would be made out of, and, you know, not a solid block like terracotta. Just use your imagination. There's one more detail I need to add to the head for the breeze, but I'm gonna save it for now. I've given the breeze a mouth, but now I need to give the breeze some of the tentacle-y things that are hanging down from his head, and I'm gonna do pretty much the same thing I did with the head. I'm gonna start with some lighter color blocks at the top, not quite as light as the white concrete powder, but the light blue terracotta should suffice, and I'll darken it just a little bit as it gets toward the bottom. Oh yeah, this is starting to look like the breeze. It's still missing a few details, which we're gonna get to here shortly, but before we do, I'm gonna take some of this iron that I've gathered, and I'm going to attach the tentacles to the basket with some iron chains. There we go, much more secure. I'm also going to take the honeycomb and string that I've gathered and craft some candles, and then I will take those candles and dye them black, because just like the terracotta, this actually doesn't have a black feel to it. It looks a little bit more purpley, so it's a nice blend with what we've already got going on here, and it's gonna offer us some light down near the basket as well. It gives off that same effect while it's lit as well, where the top of it is a little bit of a lighter purpley color, and the bottom is the darker. This couldn't be more perfect for this build. I've just realized something. I was about to say every good hot air balloon needs hot air, and I have the materials to build some campfires, which I'm gonna put in here in a second, but every good hot air balloon needs a canopy over the top to trap the hot air in. BluJay, where are your brains at today? I just hope I saved enough of this terracotta to get a decent canopy over the top. It doesn't need to be completely filled in either, because I need a small opening in the top. That didn't go very far. I don't know that I can live with that, but I'm completely out of terracotta now, I think. Yeah, it's all gone. No more terracotta. What I could do though, I've got some of this white concrete powder left over. I could harden it. Okay, I like where that's going. Get a little bit of a ring of white around the edge. I need a few more pieces, which I think I can spare. I could also use some of this white wool because I don't necessarily think I'm gonna use all of it for banners. When you get farther along in a build like this on a resource ration challenge, you start running into decisions. Do you want to use resources for a certain thing or another certain thing? Because if you use them for one thing, you might not have them for the other. I think I can live with that. Okay, campfires. I've got some cobblestone, and I'm gonna take 8 of it and craft a furnace. And you might notice I don't have any coal. That's why I got a bunch of logs. I'm gonna craft some planks, and then I'm gonna take those planks and put them in the fuel slot, and then I'm gonna put 1 log in there. Then I'm gonna put that charcoal in there so that it goes a little bit farther. We can stretch the resources some more. And then I can take 3 logs, 1 coal, and 3 sticks and craft a campfire. And I'm gonna make 3 of those. And I'll strategically place one right here, here, and here. That should be pretty good. I think we're almost done with the build now, aside from a couple of key details that really make this breeze come alive. I'm gonna get some more charcoal, and then I'm gonna start smelting some sand. And with a full smelted stack of glass, I'm actually going to dye this first because you do end up saving resources if you do it this way. For 8 bone meal, I can get a full stack of white stained glass. If I wait to do this after I've crafted them into glass panes, it's something like 20 more dye to do it this way. So if you don't dye it first, you're absolutely wasting resources. So now from here, I can go in and create stained glass panes. And the first thing the breeze needs are some eyebrows. Oh, that makes it so much better. You got great eyebrows, bro. The other iconic thing about the breeze that's missing is the wind swirls that go all the way around. Now, I know in real life that actually wouldn't work with a hot air balloon because they're not going to be attached, but this is Minecraft. We can do anything we want. This is a magical hot air balloon, and it's gonna have wind swirls. Now that is a breeze if I ever saw one. Those magical wind swirls really bring the whole build together, but we're not quite done yet. I still have some resources left. They are getting a bit sparse at this point. So what I'm gonna do right now is move on to the functional part of the build, and that is going to be a redstone TNT launcher. In order to build that, I need 8 bows. And with those 8 bows, I need some redstone and some cobblestone. And I'm going to be very careful not to accidentally craft my infinity bow into one of these dispensers. So best to probably do all of this manually. I'm gonna take these 8 dispensers and place them in a ring facing upwards around the inside of the basket. The middle will not have a dispenser because that's where we're going to stand and activate the launcher. I also need 8 redstone torches, 1 sticky piston and 1 block of redstone, and 1 piece of redstone dust, so I will have 1 left over. And then I'm going to dig down underneath the dispensers, and then I'll place this sticky piston facing downward right here, and attach the redstone block to it. And then on this piece of stone right here, I'm gonna place 1 redstone dust, followed by a block right here, here, and here. And here, here, and here. On top of each of these corner blocks, I'm going to put a redstone torch. And then to put them in a deactivated state by default, I'm going to put another redstone torch right here, 1 right here, 1 right here, and 1 right here. And that's pretty much the entire contraption, except for a couple of key things on the outside. I'm gonna smelt 1 piece of cobblestone, and I'm not gonna use this stone or this dirt because I did dig it up from underneath the balloon, so I'm just gonna toss it out. It does not count towards our resources. And then I will take this stone and put it in my inventory and craft a stone button. This stone button is gonna go right in the center on that piston. And then I'm gonna take my bucket of water and just fill all of this in. Very carefully, I'm going to aim at the button, not the piston, and I'm gonna crouch, and then I'm gonna place 1 water source in the middle. If you're not careful, you can waterlog the piston and the water could drop below into the redstone, so just don't do that. You don't wanna break redstone with water. And this water is absolutely necessary for this to work properly. Once the TNT dispenses into this area, without the water, the whole basket blows up. Speaking of TNT, I've got some sand, and I've got some gunpowder, and I have enough of each to craft 12 TNT. So essentially, I have 1 shot at this today. I'll fill this up on another date with some more TNT because I'm gonna use this on a regular basis, but I get 1 test flight for this video, so we better make it a good one. Before I launch myself into the sky, there are a couple of more details I wanna add to this because I have some excess resources, and at this point, the build is mostly done, so I don't have to be as careful. I can start just kind of blowing through stuff. So I'm gonna craft some more banners, and I'll see what else I can get up to. With the limited amount of resources that I had left, we actually got up to quite a bit here. I took some cobble and some gravel that I had left over, along with some dark oak slabs to create a path, and some stone slabs for stairs up to the path. And I also used some of those materials to crack the ground around where the hot air balloon lands, because this is where the hot air balloon always lands. So it gives off the impression that this is a very well used space. And I think it looks looks pretty good. I also crafted some barrels out of some of the wood I had left over to store all of the unused materials, and even this has a creative purpose. These barrels represent the materials we can load into our hot air balloon and go off onto the next adventure and build something crazy, and I challenge you to do the same. This was a really fun challenge to complete, and if you're looking for something new in Minecraft to do, a new perspective, a new challenge, why not give Resource Ration a try yourself? Now, before we end out today's episode, I did promise that I would give this a test flight, and I have removed all of my netherite armor because the knockback resistance is not going to allow me to fly very high. With this TNT launcher, let's not delay any longer. Let's see if this hot air balloon can actually make me fly. All right, there's the TNT. I hope it doesn't blow up this build. Oh yes, we're in the air. Beautiful. Absolutely love it. The TNT Elytra Launcher hot air balloon is a huge success. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Bedrock Guide, and I want to say a huge thank you once again to Mojang for sponsoring this and giving me this really fun challenge. I hope you'll all go out and try it for yourself. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave me a comment, like the video, and subscribe, and maybe leave me some ideas of some challenges you might make up to keep Minecraft always feeling fresh. Oh, okay, good. The hot air balloon survived the blast.